being successful at almost anything means having a passion for it. If you see somebody with even reasonable intelligence and a terrific passion for what they do, and who can get people around them to march even when those people can't see over the top of the next hill, things are going to happen.
I mean, I can buy anything I want, basically, but I can't buy time.
And so to have time is the most precious thing you can have.
I better be careful with it.
Yeah.
There's no way I will be able to buy more time.
And living in Omaha makes that easier.
That makes it a lot easier. I for 50, whatever it is, well, then for 54 years, I've spent 5 minutes going each way. Now, just imagine that was a half an hour each way. You know, I know the words to a lot more songs, and that's about it.
It adds up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really adds up.
Add up.
No, if you're talking an hour a day difference coming and going, and that's 2.5% of the person's work week. That means 40 years. You're talking about a year.
What brings you the most satisfaction beyond family?
Well, my greatest satisfaction is just staying in good health. I mean, when you're 86, you look at this a little liberally.
So you're in good health?
Oh yeah. I enjoy every day. I enjoy.
But what is it that you enjoy?
Well, I enjoy running Berkshire. Yeah. I mean, if you get right down into my psyche, I mean,
that's what I want to be.
Yeah, no, it's been my painting for 50 some years. I get to paint what I want. I don't have to do follow what Wall Street is telling me to do next quarter or something like that. So I own the brush, I own the canvas, and the canvas is unlimited. Now that's a pretty nice game, and I get to do it every day with people I like. I don't have to associate with anyone that causes my stomach to churn. If I were in politics, I'd have to smile at a lot of people that I want to hit.
You just don't talk to them.
It's really, I've got a good deal. I'm hanging on to it.
I often repeated the story. Brooke Astor once said to me, "I spent too much of my life worrying about what people thought of me, and then I only care about what I think of them now."
Yeah, well, Brooke, I love Brooke. She was good.
I only want to see people that I like.
Yeah, and my business is, I'm lucky that way. I mean, business is so much easier than philanthropy. Philanthropy may be a whole lot more important, but in business, you're looking for kind of easy choices. You're looking for people that you like to associate with, and I mean, to an extent, I can create the world around me.
Are you saying to me, if somebody walked in your door and they want you to buy their company, and you saw it as a golden
goose run by with a farmer I didn't like? I would say no.
You'd say no,
because
even though you knew it would.
Charlie, marrying for money is probably a bad idea under any circumstances, but if you're already rich, it does not make any sense at
all. You believe in America.
Absolutely.
You have said to me more than once, I would give up a year of my life just to know what the next 50 is going to be like.
Yeah, even the next 4 now. I mean,
why'd you pick 4?
I don't know, just number that came to me. It is just fascinating what's happened just in my lifetime. In the 86 years. I should mention one thing about reading. It was at the library here at Columbia that I wish I spent probably more time than any other student. I lived there practically, but I pulled the book out there. Happened to be Who's Who in America, and it told me something about my professor Benjamin Graham. And then I looked up and I went to the library and I said, I want to learn more about this because I learned this over here. That changed my whole life. We own Geico now because of that librarian directing me to some other book and then following through on that. It's the chance. I read about 1/5 the pace that Bill does, but I still spend 5 or 6 hours a day reading. I mean, you can learn so much. I particularly love biography. Just to be able to live the lives of these people that have been so extraordinary, the lessons and the discouragements they face, just everything about it. So you can't get enough of reading it. And I read the book when I was 19 called The Intelligent Investor, and I'd been interested in investments since I was maybe 7 or 8, but I'd read every book in the Omaha Public Library by the time I was 11.
So why do you think you were interested in investing when you were 7 or 8?
Because I was too dumb to get interested at 4. My dad had a very small investment firm, and I would just go down and I read all the books that he had there, waiting to go to lunch or whatever it might be, and then I went to the public library and read them all, and it just was a fascinating subject to me. But I didn't have any. I knew what everybody thought and all of that at an early age, but what Graham wrote made sense.
To investing per se, is there something about your core competence that made investing the perfect place for you to be?
Yeah, it certainly wasn't be a pro football player. I looked. It was a question of zeroing out all the other incompetencies, and I was left with one thing,
Just the allocation of capital.
I was actually wired in a way that was. This would be something I would be good at.
So wired in what way?
I can't tell you precisely, but I've got the right temperament for it, which is much more important than IQ. If you've got more than 120 points of IQ, sell the rest to somebody else. You don't need it in investments, but you do need the right temperament. You do. You do have to be able to think for yourself. And getting back to, the earlier question, the first question I ask myself when I look at a business is it important and easy what I can determine about this business? Yeah. And a lot of them don't make it. Now, Bill is looking for hard questions that plague society, and where intellect and money may make a difference. They may not for a while, but he's taking on the tough things. My job is to find easy things. I'm looking for 1 foot bars to step over, rather than 8 foot bars to jump over, But that's not irrational if you're looking at the investment universe. But reading is key. On the biography, on the book thing, you can learn so much. My partner Charlie Munger just loves Ben Franklin. You can learn from other people and their mistakes, and I find biography is my favorite.
Warren, you have often said you still tap dance to work.
Absolutely.
Because you can paint with your own colors.
Yeah, I'm as excited about tomorrow in terms of what's going to happen as I was when I started. I was having a lot of fun when I started, but I'm having just as much fun now. And when I was here at Columbia, I had this terrible fear. It was impossible for me to speak in public. I wasn't able to do it. I actually read an ad in the New York Times. I went down to Midtown, signed up for a course, gave the guy a check, and then stopped payment on the check. I was just petrified. But finally, and actually, after you get through hearing me today, maybe you'll wish I'd stayed afraid of public speaking, but that's another question. When I got out to Omaha, I finally decided I just had to do it, so I gave a guy $100 in cash, and once I parted with $100 in cash, I'd jump off the Grand Canyon to get my money's worth. So, but it changed my life. But I would say this: don't fear failure. Almost everything that's turned out, I got turned down by Harvard. The best thing that ever happened, among other some good things that happened that didn't seem good at the time. Don't worry about. And don't let it eat at you or look back. Just keep going, because you're going to have some things and forget them. Go forward.
All right, I want to go to the back of the room, right back there, wherever number 3 is.
Hi, my name is Matthew Mann. I'm a first year at Columbia Business School. Both of you had a moment where you went out on your own. And I guess my question would be, if you were to do it all over again, you're in our shoes, what industry would that be in? Where would you start your own business today?
I'd do the same thing. Yeah. The one thing, I'd be a failure at anything else probably. I'm not gonna, I had fun when I was in my 20s, my 30s. Now I'm 86. I'm having fun, and so I advise students as much as possible. Look for the job that you would take if you didn't need a job. Don't sleepwalk through life, and don't say it's all going to be great. I'll do this and I'll do that, and I'm just marking time to get to be older. As I've told people, that's like saving up sex for your old age. It just is not. It is not a good idea. Yeah.
What are you urging them to do?
I'll explain it. Just what I'm talking about. Now, you really want to be doing what you love doing, and you can't necessarily find it on your first job.
Right.
But don't give up before you find it. The difference between now and 60 or 70 years ago in the ability of really bright people, really innovative, really energetic people to get finance to do things is just dramatically better than it was at that time. So now, if you've got good ideas, and there's good ideas right in this crowd, and you've got energy, it's far easier to get finance to move forward those ideas than you could 50 or 60 years ago.
Is that because of the internet or crowdsourcing, or what is it?
It's just lots more capital
Lots more
around,
capital.
and people more optimistic about. People are very optimistic about business.
But better ways to connect the two,
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
capital and those
Absolutely,
and the ideas.
it's dramatic.
Many industrial-based communities have been severely affected with higher levels of unemployment due to the increasing utilization of automation, which ends up displacing workers. What do you believe is a possible solution to unemployment arising from automation?
How technology and the impact technology is having on jobs and the demand for new kinds of skills.
Yeah, we were here in 1800 and conducting this, and somebody would point out that eventually tractors would come along and better fertilizer and everything, and that 80% of the people are now employed on the farm, and in a couple of hundred years it's going to be 2 or 3%. And what are we going to do with all these people? Well, the answer is we release them. Keynes wrote something about it in something called Essays on Persuasion. He wrote in 1930 about what a more prosperous society would become like. And he actually postulated that in 100 years, and we're now 87 years from that, that there would be 4 to 8 times as much output per capita. And he's remarkable, but he didn't quite get how it might get distributed. But the idea of more output per capita, which is what the progress is made on productivity, that should be harmful to society is crazy. I mean, the distribution may be a problem, but if one person could push a button and turn out everything we turn out now, is that good for the world or bad for the world? You'd have to figure out how to distribute it, but you'd free up all kinds of possibilities for everything else. So everything should be devoted initially to getting greater productivity, but people who fall by the wayside through no fault of their own, as the goose lays more golden eggs, should still get a chance to participate in that prosperity, and that's where government comes in.
Whether you're going to make an investment in a company or whether you're going to buy the company, what are the factors that you're looking for? What test?
I'm looking for durable competitive advantage. I'm looking for something that has a moat around it for a considerable period of time. And I'm looking for an honest and able management to run it, because I don't know how to run it myself. And I'm looking for a purchase price that's not excessive. But it's better to pay a little too much for something that's a very good business than it is to buy some bargain, but really a company without much of a future. And I don't know. I don't have a ability to predict with a high probability of success the future of most companies. So I'm looking for the exception. But the nice thing is, if there's thousands of companies out there, I really only have to be right on a couple. I mean, it's exactly the opposite of baseball, where you have called strikes, and the pitcher's trying to throw it to you at the worst part of the strike zone for you. And if he succeeds in getting into that corner 3 times and you don't swing, you're out. And in investing, it's a no called strike thing. So I can sit there all day and somebody can throw me one company after another, and finally I get one in my sweet spot.
Both of you have chosen both wives and partners well. Charlie Munger added what to you?
Oh, Charlie Munger changed my views. He refined them in a huge way in terms of looking for the quality companies and looking for the ability to make an investment that would work out well for 5 or 10 or 20 years, as opposed to something there might be one. I call it cigar butt investing, where there was one puff left in the cigar, but the cigar was free, so you picked up these disgusting looking things and got one puff out of it and went on to another one. And that worked okay, but it was small scale, and it really doesn't build something satisfying. So he kept forcing me in the direction of saying, is this really a business we want to own for forever? And do we want to get associated? It's like a marriage. I mean, do you want to get associated with this person forever? And it's a great way to look at things. It's more fun with a partner. I mean, Charlie and I have had more fun working together than either one of us would have had individually, and we have never had an argument after working together for 58 years.
You talk every day?
Not anymore, because we know what the other guy's going to say. We just grunt. Well, my own personal thought is that every life is of equal value, and in many ways, in many ways, if you have a limited number of dollars, you actually can do more for more people outside the United States. We do have greater resources here for our 320 million people than exists around the world for 7+ billion people. So if you can improve the lot of more people by intelligently spending $1 billion or any other number in other areas of the world actually than here. And I get, coming from Omaha and having the money I have, people can say, well, why not spend it all in Omaha? You grew up here in Omaha, it's done all kinds of things for you, and I absolutely acknowledge that. But in the end, if I've got X dollars to spend, I can make life better for more people if I can have it intelligently allocated in other parts of the world actually than the United States. And that draws a fair amount of criticism, but I live with it because that's just what I believe.
All lives have equal value is really the driving force
Absolutely.
behind the foundation.
I'm an accident. I won the ovarian lottery when I was born in the United States in 1930. It was 40-1 against me. I was male. Now it's 80-1 against being a male in the United States in 1930. I was just plain lucky. My life would have been far different. Bill always said if I'd been born a long time ago, I'd have been some animal's lunch because I can't run fast and I can't climb trees and everything else. And I'd be saying, I allocate capital. It wouldn't work. And, I was lucky. But 79 out of the 80 weren't as lucky as I was at that time. If you go back 100 or 150 years, people got wealthy by making some money from the first oil refinery or steel mill and building another one, and Henry Ford would build a plant to build cars, and then it would be from retained earnings, which eventually turned into cash. Now you can get rich very young just by having an idea, and you can get that idea monetized and capitalized in a way that you cannot believe. So we are particularly interested in getting younger people interested in philanthropy because there are huge fortunes by people that are now in their 20s and 30s, and just think about the potential for that group. And so this thing has worked out way, way better, including getting younger people to join us.
Are there any major life lessons that you two have learned through your personal experiences?
Well, it's a very important question. And the more you will move in the direction of the people that you associate with. So it's important to associate with people that are better than yourself. And actually, the most important decision many of you make, not all of you, will be the spouse you choose. Right. And you want to associate with people who are the kind of person you'd like to be. You'll move in that direction, and the most important person by far in that respect is your spouse. I can't overemphasize how important that is. And you're right. The friends you have, they will form you as you go through life, and make some good friends, keep them for the rest of your life, but have them be people that you admire as well as like.
You have said to me about Susie, your late wife, I was a mess until I met Susie.
I think that's understating it. Yeah, no, she changed my life. I mean, there's no question about that.
How did she change your life?
Well, I was a very lopsided, not well-adjusted person who happened to be very good at one thing, and she put me together. I mean, and it wasn't overnight either. I mean, but she just had that little sprinkling can, and finally she saw a few sprouts come up.
Was it a coming together of opposites, or?
No, I wouldn't say that. We had very similar values. We were in sync, big in a very big way, but she was way more mature than I was. She was 19 when we got married. I was 21, but I was about 12 emotionally, and she put me together. And like I say, it took time, but it changed my life. I mean, I would not have had anything like the life I have had.
And what did Charlie Munger add?
Well, Charlie Munger is my partner of 57 or 58 years, and he's extremely wise. He's a wonderful friend. We've been partners that time, and he's strong-minded. I'm strong-minded. We disagree. Sometimes we have never had an argument in that whole time, and we never will. And
never had an argument?
Never had an argument. I will. That's absolutely true.
You must disagree on it.
Absolutely, we disagree. But
so if you disagree, how do you decide to?
Well, what he says at the end is, when we disagree, he says, well, Warren, you'll end up agreeing with me because you're smart and I'm right. I mean, where do I attack that particular problem? But and often he is.
You'll figure out I'm right.
Often he's right. I have to say that. No, listen, I respect his opinion enormously whenever he gives it to me. I respect Bill's opinion. I mean, but it's more fun doing things with partners. I mean, the most fun is obviously a marriage partner, and that's the most important relationship. But having a business partner, if I'd done everything I'd done, it wouldn't have worked out this way. But let's say I got double the results. It's been more fun doing it with Charlie.
Are you interested in technology?
I don't have enough. I don't think I have a natural bent that way to start with, and I'd be so far behind. I never would catch up with people that have been working on it, and it would not be a game I would be winning.
It is a principal criteria for you understanding the business.
Yeah, I have to understand the business, and there are lots of businesses that I don't understand. Some of them may be almost ununderstandable, and others are just outside my sphere of confidence.
But you do have people now that do have that kind of expertise, or you have brought in.
I have two people who themselves have different circles of competence, but they aren't chosen because they have a different circle or anything. There's a lot of overlap. There's overlap between them. And the important thing, is not how, it's nice to have a huge circle of competence. It's much more important to know where the limits are of it.